Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Saturday, the 17th of May 2025. I'm recording this from a place called Fenchurch Walk in Brighton. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's gotten into their weekends soundly and in one piece. I'm doing all right, thank you very much. I've just been to the Phoenix art space. Popped along to see Natalie's work again. It was so busy there yesterday, you didn't really get a chance to see everything, but it started getting busy again earlier, obviously, so I might pop round there again later on this afternoon. They're there till 5, or maybe nip round tomorrow before I leave to come back. See how we play it. Otherwise, I'll pop back again another time when there isn't an exhibition or something like that, because she has her space, her workspace there at all times. So that's not going to be a problem. Anyway, I've made my way to a place called St. Bartholomew's in the London Road area of Brighton. And the reason why I've come here is because it's a building that seems to stand out from when I was stood outside the Phoenix art space a few times having a smoke. I noticed this on the other side of the road amongst the buildings, and it just looked quite imposing and big, and of course it is. Like I said, this thing is called St. Bartholomew's. It was consecrated in 1874. The dates are interesting, are they not? It falls in line with what we talk about quite a lot with the 1800s. It's purely made of bricks, so I'm not an expert in counting how many bricks would be in this construction, but I would guess that probably 7 figures. We're probably approaching the millions. I mean, it's just not, it's not one brick layer thickness wall, if I've even said that correctly. They're thick walls and they're made of bricks throughout. But anyway, and it's the tallest church, if you like, in England, standing at 44 meters tall, or 144 feet, I do believe. So we're going to go and have a little closer look at it, because of course, as well as the fact that it's all made of bricks and it's absolutely massive, and it begs the obvious questions: how would you build? I mean, this is up a steep hill as well, by the way. I don't know if you can see the gradient or appreciate the gradient of the hill that I'm walking on right now. I'm holding my camera horizontally. But yeah, it goes very steeply downhill. But I just was amazed at the size of this. One thing I have noticed in Brighton, people are suddenly there on your shoulder or on your heels. Very bizarre. And I've not always been walking around filming, so it's not like I've not noticed and suddenly I notice or whatever. It's just constantly checking my shoulders, constantly someone right behind me, right in front of me. Weird. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. As you can see, bricks, bricks, bricks as far as the eye can see. Everything's made of bricks. The buttresses are made of bricks. There's your date there, 1874. Right, when you... Let's just apply, again, some logic. It's one of my favourite things to apply. Take into consideration the amount of buildings just in this country that were allegedly built around 1870s, 1880s. There we have it, the tallest parish church in England. It's official. Right, where did you just simply even get the manpower from? The amount of buildings Notice how the ground level changes there. I'll just take it around the side. This is the first time I've actually come up close to this building. But I mean, it looks like an old, huge warehouse, doesn't it? Absolutely massive. Built for more, I would suggest, than a few wooden benches and a worshipping congregation of people. I'll go across the other side of the road. And if it's a little bit windy over the microphone, I do apologise. I am trying to cut my hand around it a little bit, but wind is hitting you from all angles here. Just trying to give it an impression of just the sheer size of this thing. Right. You know, they don't have windows on ground level in terms of ground level for the people. That's not ground level for the church, by the way, that there. This thing goes down way deeper. Way deeper. Because they all do. And this wouldn't be any different. So. And it's quite interesting because I think that is what you're actually seeing with a lot of the churches you see today that aren't this big in size. This part, if you just imagine this part here that I'm showing you now with the camera, even to above those windows, to the edge of the frame there, I would say often is underground. And then the bit above that is what you start seeing being revealed above ground. You see where the buttresses are on the side of the wall? And that's why I always talk about buttresses when I look at churches, because you've got a little bit of church sticking out of the ground with buttresses on the side, and you ask yourself, well, what's the point of those buttresses? They're not actually serving any purpose. They're not stabilising anything. There's no need to. There's hardly any building to stabilise. But of course, you know, if the construction is way bigger, then that's a totally different ball game. But this is absolutely massive. Let's have a little walk around here. Like I say, I've never been here before. I just noticed it over the last couple of days. I noticed sort of the gable. We'll have a closer look at that in a minute, because the rose window, I think it's probably the biggest one I've seen yet. And I've been to quite a few large church type places like Notre Dame in Paris and stuff like that, but I haven't seen the circular rose windows to that size diameter that I have this on this building. I can't even talk properly. There you go. So look, there's your buttresses on the side, serving a purpose because the wall is very large, right? Makes sense there. It's keeping it sort of upright. You've got a gable at the top that seems to have been added as slates on there and stuff like that. But this is my point that I always make with the buttresses is, you know, if you've only got those buttresses there that you're seeing in the picture now, they're not serving a purpose. So there must be something below it, and that's what you would normally, that there, what you see there is what's below it. But this time with this church, it's exposed to the open as opposed to under the ground, which is the case with a lot of these types of buildings. Anyway, right, I'll go round to the front and I'll just show you this round opening on the gable of this stunning, huge, massive building. Like I say, I'm not going to start listing all the arguments now as to why, you know, according to the history books and according to the narrative that were given, building this would have been just simply impossible. You know, it wouldn't have even worked just because of the amount that would have been built at the same time, which I mentioned earlier. You know, it's too much of this stuff going on, way too much, everywhere, literally everywhere. You didn't have the people. Right, so let's have a look at this. First of all, one thing I noticed on approaching this building is how the entrance looks quite squashed, right, for the size of the building. So there's the height of the building there, just using the building next to it as a bit of a comparison, right, and then you've got the entrance here. So of course that isn't really the entrance, that's been turned into the entrance. You know, where those stairs are, as I spoke about yesterday, is not truly ground level for this building. It's been made into ground level by us, or by the Victorians I should say, right? Remember, there was a thing called the Victorian Restoration, and even officially it's stated that what we know as religious buildings were all restored by the Victorians throughout the 1800s, the mid to late 1800s. So there's your squished up entrance with your ground level there, and then look to the left, there's another entrance, and notice how the ground level is higher. Right, true ground level is way below our feet. Now, think that's impressive? Take a look at this. Look at the size of that. Isn't that incredible? I mean, sometimes I just stand in front of a building and just, I think the best thing to do is just shut up and just be in awe of it. And that's what I am right here with this. It is just unbelievable.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's work.
And next year, you've got 12 months.
You mean take time off?
Yeah. It starts on Wednesday.
Yeah, people are so oblivious. They just are. They'll stop and stand right in front of you, not notice, because they're on their phones. They'll walk literally right over you, almost. Becoming more and more prevalent. But yeah, anyway, I needed to bring that to you because I just found it an astounding building, or I find it an astounding building. We have a bit of sunlight on it now, that's nice. So I'll pan back up again briefly to have another look. Gorgeous colour sky in the background. Yeah, isn't that amazing? St Bartholomew's in Brighton. 44 metres tall, or 144 feet if you're of the imperial persuasion. Okie doke, I thought I would just bring that to you. Lots to look at, lots to discuss on that building. Go ahead, my friend. Thank you, though.
I thought you'd take a picture.
No, well, I was, but it's all good, though. Thank you for noticing. Most people don't care, mate. Thanks. Well, you always have to give credit where it's due, I guess. So yeah, there we go. I thought I would get that one in. Wasn't planned. But, you know, it might be a while until I get here again. It's just a gorgeous, amazing building. It's just unusual. It's right smack bang in the middle of a, you know, an area where people sort of live, and roads go uphill and downhill and blah de blah. You know, just to give you a little rough sort of overview of where I am, this is what you're seeing. Community, little workshops and drop-ins and stuff like that. Bit sort of cultural creation, or whatever you want to call it, artsy, all that sort of thing. And smack bang in the middle, you have that, which I find absolutely incredible. What a building, unbelievable. I mean, I'm going to be doing a video later on this afternoon on another incredible building that has also its fascinating aspects, but in a different way. Almost not as impressive as this one here, really. I mean, look at the amount of buttresses on the side of that building there. You know, if I just zoom in there. See all those there? And you got this thing here. Size of that. Absolutely massive. Whatever was housed inside that building either needed a lot of cooling down or needed a lot of space outwards to function, whether it was generating frequency, drawing in air for cooling, or maybe even both, who knows. Because let's be absolutely frankly honest with ourselves, we don't really know what the functionality of these buildings were originally. You know, yes, they've been turned into churches, but clearly these things weren't built for you to then put little wooden benches in, right? It's crazy. Not just that, we know that they go way deeper down in the ground, right? That is not ground level. It's as simple as that. That's a fact. That's not imaginary story on my part or wishful thinking. It's the way it is. Anyway, but I shan't continue with that now because we could go on forever. But there we go, St. Bartholomew's in Brighton. So I'll leave that with you. Hope you all have a nice continuation of your weekend, and yeah, I'll see you with the next video that I'll be taking this afternoon from the Royal Pavilion in Brighton, where you would be forgiven for thinking that I've nipped on a plane and gone to the Indian subcontinent. Okie dokie. On that note, I'll see you all soon. Some of you much sooner. Until then, take it easy and ta-ta for now.